Hey everybody, so welcome back to Jim Bob's Garden. So today what we're going to do is I'm going to show you how I keep my tomatoes from falling over. Tomatoes are a great thing, but they are a vining plant, and if you don't do something, they will invariably fall over. They will produce along the ground just fine, but the problem is that anytime a tomato gets in contact with the ground, oftentimes you'll get rot and you'll get bugs, and they just don't grow well on the ground. So that's why everybody finds one way or another to tie their tomatoes up in such a way that they can grow up in the air and not down on the ground. So let me show you how I go about doing it. Okay, you can see here that I've got a tomato that is basically wanting to fall over. I mean, it's already kind of getting all limp and floppity, and wind will do that to it. So we got to find a way to keep them standing upright. If I could untangle it without killing it. Alright, now this one's kind of odd because I have two stems, but that's alright. So basically what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to prop this up to where it's up about this high. So what you want to do with this method, so this is basically bamboo, and I bought this bamboo at Lowe's, I think it was, oh gosh, I want to say there was 6 pieces of bamboo, 6 foot long, for $6, if I remember correctly. I don't know what they are this year because these were last year's. And then what I've done is I've taken old t-shirts and cut them into strips like so. Now this is actually one from last year, so I mean, sometimes they'll last. This one seems to have lasted a lot better, but you know, that's why you use old t-shirts, not new t-shirts. So basically I want to tie these up about this high. So I'm going to take my fingers, kind of mark my spot, and then I'm going to tie it off first to the stake. So we're going to get it equal length on both sides, and then we're just going to go over and under and snug it up against the stake. Alright, and that's just so that it basically doesn't slip up and down too much. Alright, and then what we're going to do is take one piece and wrap it around, kind of untangle again, and then I'm going to wrap this one around there, and I'm going to wrap this one. Let's go on the other side of that. Right there. And then basically all we're going to do is loosely tie this section here in a bow knot, just like you do on your shoes. Now you don't want it real tight, and in fact right here where I've got this at, I've got tomatoes growing in there, so I want it real nice and loose so that they can continue to grow. Alright, and it'll allow it to flop around somewhat, but it's still going to hold it up because it's up underneath these branches right there. It'll hold it up enough to where it will be fine. Okay, it's as simple as that. Alright, get you some of these stakes, or any stake will do, anything that will hold it upright, and then you just tie it to the stake and then tie it to the tomato nice and loose. And you can continue to move these up, or once the tomato gets bigger, I can just tie another one here and another one there, and so on, all the way up. That's how I did it last year. Works really good, and that's how I'm going to do it again this year with the same stakes and some of the same ties. Though I'm sure I've got some old t-shirts that need to be cut up anyway. All right, so that's one way to tie up your tomatoes. Now let's go look at a different way. Alright, so what we have here is a failure to communicate. I'll probably edit that out. But anyway, so what this is an old frame for a swing. Used to have one of them big long swings in it. The swing itself rotted out. I was sitting out here one day and went, pow, right through the bottom of the swing. It's pretty funny. I wish I'd have had video of that. But at any rate, the swing itself was rotted out, but the frame is not. It's a nice solid frame. Now you can do this with any kind of some sort of overhead brace. Now I'm 5'8", so this is standing up about as tall as I am. It's better if you can get it up to about 6 foot tall, or about as high as you can reach without a ladder. All right, because that allows the tomato plants to grow that much taller. Okay, but you need something to go across the top, and then what you need is some string and scissors. So you got your string and scissors, and then what we're going to do is we're just going to take a string. Now, I've seen it recommended, and it seems to make sense to me, though this is the first time I've done it, to use something like jute twine. Okay, now the reason for the twine is that one, it's cheap, and two, it will probably have a better grip on things than just a regular nylon string, for example. Now I will tell you, I used some cotton string to delineate my beds or my square foot garden last year, and before the year was done, it had started to rot out. So I don't think that it would be a good idea to have a... Oh man, hang on, I got to show you this. If you look very carefully right there, what you see right there, that's an alligator. He's probably about 3 foot long, maybe, tip to tail. So yeah, that's how you know when you're in Florida, when you got a gator in your pond. All right. Anyway, just thought I'd show you that. So what we're going to do is we're going to run the twine directly above the plant, up to the top, and we're going to do a square knot. Just a basic square knot. All right. Just to hold it in place. And then we're going to pull it tight. And then we're going to pull it tight down to the plant. And I'm going to cut it off, giving myself a few extra inches at the bottom, just so I can tie a knot. Alright, then we're going to find the spot where you want to tie it up at. Okay, so you want to get up underneath some branches, but like these low branches right here are going to be cut off. And yes, I need to pull some weeds, but so this is probably a really good spot to start. So we're going to take it down to that point, and then we're going to tie a loose loop. Alright, so I don't want this to be real tight, because if it is, then it's going to cut off circulation to the tomato. So we'll leave a nice loose loop about the size you think the biggest tomato plant will get. And being jute twine, it's going to hold. I mean, if you ever tried to untie a knot made in jute, it can be a pretty good pain. All right. So there we go, there's my nice loose knot. And then what we're going to do is, as this tomato grows, we're just going to wrap the string around the tomato. And once it gets taller, we'll wrap it some more. Now right now, it'll keep it from falling over and breaking, but you're going to need a little bit of slack. I might have a little too much slack in that. Let me pull it a little tighter. But as it grows up, it's going to tighten up somewhat. All right. So let's try that again. Now keep in mind, this is my first time doing this. But my neighbor did it. Now, there are some other alternatives. What he did is he actually utilized some clips. they make a nice little clip. It's a plastic clip. There we go, that's a little more snug. Alright, there's a nice little plastic clip you can snap right on the line that will hold this in place. I just don't want to spend the money on the clip at the moment. So yeah, then all you do is you just twist it around your tomato, and that will hold it in place. Alright, make sure, like I said, you've got enough slack on there to where as this tomato vine grows, that tomato vine can expand. Alright, so there you go. That's how I'm going to tie up my tomatoes on this particular trellis. Alright, so another way that a lot of people use, another method a lot of people use is called tomato cages. Now you get these pretty much anywhere, Walmart, Lowe's, wherever. And basically all you do is you take them, stick them in like so, and you let the tomato grow up inside the tomato cage. Now I have done this in the past, and it has worked to a certain extent. The problem is, as you can see, this one is only about half as tall as my string would be. So if I get a really tall tomato, once it gets above here, it's going to flop out. Now that's not necessarily a bad thing, but it is a thing to be aware of, okay? And I want to get hopefully the tomato to go all the way up the string. And in these particular vines, I'm going to try and make a single stem as they go up, so that basically the only thing I got is a few leaves and a lot of tomatoes. Okay? And you can't really do that as well with these. These work excellent, the tomato cages, for peppers and eggplant. That was the other thing I used them for. And I've heard people talking, you know, oh yeah, they won't last but 1 year, and then you got to go buy all new ones. And that's just not the case. I've had these, and I bought them because they were, you know, painted different colors, so my kids would hopefully get involved. But I've had them for years. I mean, at least 4 years, 5 years, something like that. I've had them for quite a little while. All right. That alligator's just checking me out, man. He's like looking at me, wondering what's going on. It's like, why is that guy up there? But anyway, so I like this better for now. Now I haven't done it all year long. I will say that last year my tying off to the bamboo stakes was fantastic. Worked like a champ. I loved it. But I've been wanting to do something like this for a long time now, and now that I've got a brace, I'm going to go ahead and use this year, and I think it'll hold up fine. My one concern is the idea that this might blow over in a storm. Okay, so I'm thinking I might have to do some anchoring somehow to try and hold this in. But you'll see I've got, let me see, can you see? But I do have green beans around the feet, and as the green beans grow up, they're pole beans, they will grow up and hopefully help to anchor it down into the ground. But there's also not a lot of wind here to blow them over, and actually tying it to the tomato will help to anchor it as well, I believe. But you can see how the wind is trying to tip my tomatoes over already, and they're already getting tall enough where they can fall over without a problem. All right, so let me go ahead and get back to work. I'm going to finish tying these all off, and we'll see how it works. Worst comes to worst, if the wind does blow it over, I could lose all my tomatoes. That would suck. All right, but hopefully that won't happen. I think we'll be fine. I may have to anchor it, I don't know. I know that it used to blow over, but only when I had the swing on it. The swing would cause it to blow over. So I don't think the wind resistance is enough to blow it over. But we do get hurricanes, so we'll find out. All right, anyway, so that's how I'm going to deal with my tomatoes this year. I appreciate you all stopping by. Do me a favor, give me a like and a subscribe. Let me know what you think. And most importantly, grow something. And make sure that you support your tomatoes. All right, it's kind of like having kids. If you don't support them, they're just going to go wild. All right, thanks once again. Y'all take care and come back and see me.